Lockout, tagout. What does that mean? To put it simply, it's a way to protect yourself and others in the workplace. How? It's fairly basic, but just because it's simple doesn't mean it's not important. It's just the opposite. Lockout, tagout can prevent serious debilitating injuries and even death. Yes, lockout, tagout is serious business. Lockout, tagout is about disabling machinery during maintenance or repair by using a lock to prevent the machine from being started. You see, just turning off the machine at the controls isn't enough. What would happen if an engineer had their head, arms, or other body parts in a machine with the start button turned off and someone walked up, not knowing he was in there, and turned the machine on? Not a nice thing to think about. That's why it's so important to disable energy sources, all energy sources, before maintenance or repair begins. That's what this program is all about. Remember this, lockout, tagout must be used during the servicing and or maintenance of machines or equipment and when there is a potential for unexpected energization or startup or release of stored energy. Now, before we go any further, let's discuss the two different categories of associates requiring knowledge and training in lockout, tagout procedures. The first category is authorized associates. These are maintenance personnel who actually use lockout and tagout procedures while they are repairing or maintaining equipment. The second category is affected associates. This describes any associates who uses or works around equipment and machinery. It's recommended that virtually all associates be in the affected associate category. To adequately protect both authorized and affected associates, the machine's energy source or sources must be disabled before maintenance, service, or repair is performed. The first thing to do is to identify all hazardous energy sources associated with the machine. Each machine or piece of equipment must be inspected by trained persons to determine energy sources and adequate lockout, tagout procedures. These procedures must be documented if the equipment has multiple energy sources. Multiple lockouts are required. 2 or more associates are repairing or servicing the equipment. Or the equipment has a potential to store or reaccumulate energy. Remember, electricity is not the only form of hazardous energy. Control of hazardous energy systems also includes mechanical, hydraulic, pneumatic, chemical, thermal, and other energy sources. Once identified, these energy sources must be controlled by locking them out to the off or safe position. Energy is considered adequately controlled or isolated when an unplanned event, such as someone attempting to turn the machine on, will not override or bypass the lockout control. The name of the person who locked the equipment out must be written on the tag. This person is the only person allowed to remove the lock or tag. In some circumstances, multiple locks and or tags are used. Never, under any circumstances, remove a lock or tag or attempt to start a machine that has been locked and tagged out. Associates who are affected by lockout, tagout procedures are to be notified by the authorized associate before the lockout is applied, and after the lockout is removed, and when the machine or equipment is safe to use. Associate training must be provided to ensure everyone is educated in lockout, tagout procedures. Associates must know what lockout, tagout means and that they are not to remove tags without authorization under any circumstances. The next part of an effective lockout, tagout program is an annual inspection process. An inspection to ensure associates are trained and knowledgeable on lockout, tagout policies and procedures, and that these procedures are being properly used when required. Documentation of the annual inspections is required. The person conducting the inspection should be an authorized employee, but who does not utilize the lockout, tagout energy control procedure being inspected. In other words, maintenance people who perform lockout, tagout procedures on the machine or equipment being inspected cannot conduct the inspection. Lockout and tagout hardware such as locks, tags, and hasps are provided by your property. Lockout tagout hardware may only be used for lockout tagout purposes and cannot be used for any other job tasks. This pertains especially to the tags because lockout tags used for other purposes may dilute the meaning of the tag. Each individual must accept the responsibility of being aware of the rules and following your organization's policies and procedures exactly. The purpose of lockout and tagout is accident prevention, safeguarding the machine operators and the maintenance associates servicing the equipment. Safety has always been a team effort, and lockout tagout is no different. There is one exception to the lockout rule, and that's equipment connected only by an electrical cord and plug. You do not have to lock out cord and plug equipment if there are no other hazardous energy sources. The major requirement for cord and plug equipment is that the person performing the work must have control over the plug, thus preventing someone else from plugging in the cord and energizing the equipment. If plug control cannot be maintained, then the plug needs to be locked out. Remember, failure to lock out and tag machinery before working on it is a major cause of injury. There is a big difference between turning off a machine and actually disabling a piece of equipment. Electricity is not the only form of hazardous energy. All equipment being serviced or repaired that poses a hazard must be locked out and tagged before the service or maintenance is performed. Never remove a lock or tag or attempt to start a machine that has been locked and tagged out. Lockout tagout hardware may only be used for lockout tagout and cannot be used for any other purpose. Lockout tagout is a vital part of injury prevention, so if you're not sure about a particular procedure, ask your supervisor. Don't take chances because failure to properly lock out and tag out when necessary can lead to potentially serious injury.